Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode number 2 of whatever the hell we are calling this show. I had a t-shirt. It was like the first apparel that I ever sold through Nadeshot. I was working with Major League Gaming. They were basically doing what a lot of these, private label services do now. You know, you have like MetaThreads and bunch of like FanJoy, all this shit.
Yeah.
I was doing it through MLG. And they were printing on like Nike apparel. So it was a t-shirt that said Nadeshot Knows.
It was like a dry fit shirt?
My dad still has it. No, it was like an incredible cotton shirt. It wasn't dry fit, but it had the Nike logo on it. It said Nadeshot Knows. That thing sold like hotcakes.
How many units?
I don't remember that well. It was definitely thousands for sure. That's when I was like, oh, fuck, wait.
Can I find it now that I'm...
Do I got something special here? Do I have lightning in the bottle?
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's sick.
And I was thinking maybe that would be a good title for the podcast, but I think it's too narcissistic. Like, I don't sit here and fucking act like I know everything. What do I know? Like, I don't even know how that t-shirt came to be. Everything that has seemingly been created in my life, like, I don't know how it came to existence because I definitely didn't.
Yeah, were you like... Would someone else just like, hey, I'm going to make this shirt for you? Or were you like, yo, I'm...
That I don't remember, but the thing that's most prevalent in my mind is the 100 Thieves logo. Like, I had an idea of what I wanted it to be, but I could only give like high-level creative inspiration, and this was the first iteration of what the designer sent through, and I loved it. I'm like, okay, don't change it.
What are your current thoughts on the logo?
I love the 100 Thieves logo. I mean, I think everybody has seen or at least saw when I was talking about our jerseys and the 100T logo that we use for esports. The inspiration behind the 100T, the circle logo, I wanted something that felt and looked as iconic as like the New York Yankees snapback. And I don't know if we landed there, but at the time we were on a crunch for the LCS because they needed a primary and a secondary logo. And we played around with some other things, but 100T was just what we ran with. And now people love that logo, but the tough thing about my job is that when we have apparel drops or anything that has had a long lead time, you know, I'll sit there and be looking at it for a year minimum. And by the time we finally release it, I'm not even excited about it anymore. And most of the time I hate it. And it's like a very toxic battle that I have with myself. But the 100T logo, a lot of people love it, but I just can't stand the sight of it. It just feels too sloppy and it doesn't feel intentional. And I have racked my brain like for years trying to think of some sort of visual representation for Thieves, some sort of art delivery that I just cannot find it. Like, I don't want to have like a typical esports like mascot, but in some ways I do. I can't explain what it should be. And I've tried to use different eras of time and word association and graphic representation of Thieves, and I just can't land at something that I love. And we've had multiple creative agencies give it a shot, and just nothing productive ever comes of it. Drives me crazy. It drives me fucking crazy. A lot of people don't like that black embroidery patch that we have on the new jerseys, and that's an entire rabbit hole we don't need to go down.
Yeah.
Actually, we could. But I don't know why everybody hates it so much, but that is literally there because I just didn't want to do the 100T logo again.
Yeah.
And to this day, our most sought-after jerseys that we ever had done were the baseball jerseys from the first year. I loved them at the time, but I can't stand the sight of them, and everybody asks us to bring them back.
Can't.
Even like all the journalists in esports, like, how did they go from this to this? And I'm like, are we looking at the same fucking photo? And it just, that's the tough part about what I do and the decisions I have to make is taste is so subjective.
Yeah.
And you can do your best to create for what you love, or you could try to please others. But I've always had a firm belief in the fact that people don't know what they want until you give it to them. And the current jersey, the primary from this 2023, I was so frustrated because what I loved about Juvee before we shared it with the world is that everything about the brand, the cans, the formula, the taste, the carbonation levels, like I loved and was infatuated with Juvee. And the day that we made the announcement, I was just fucking terrified because this was like our baby that we created from the ground up. Like every detail. There is not a speck of matter or existence that we didn't create ourselves. And as soon as we got to share that with the world, I'm like, fuck, man, this thing is just, now it's open up to everybody's opinions and criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of how I feel about the primary jersey from this year, because we really wanted to do a red primary. We've only done it once before. And up until yesterday, I hadn't realized that we had done it once before. I thought it was an alternate, but that was from like 2020 or 2021. The years kind of blend together. That jersey was great, but I actually really like this jersey, which was why I was so surprised. The first 5 minutes were great. Like a journalist, I think his name is Jacob Hale. I respect him a lot because he never lets bias get in the way of like an objective matter that he's reporting on. But when things aren't like an official, publication or whatnot, he'll share an opinion.
Yeah.
And he loved our jersey, and I'm like, oh, good. Somebody I respect really likes it. And then after the first 5 minutes, all hell broke loose. Like, we were just getting cooked. Like, oh, it's a fucking Pizza Hut uniform, a McDonald's uniform. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, I wore that shit for 4.5 years when I was working there. This don't remind me of that.
Yeah.
So that's the tough part about creative, and one aspect of the job that I hate. It just feels like too much pressure. You're really proud of something, and then you release it, and it's like you just killed an entire village of children. People are so angry, and I cannot.
Creatures.
I mean, look, brother, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but everybody's so abrasive with their opinion.
Yeah.
People are saying, like, this is the worst fucking shit, like, as if I'm committing a war crime. I'm like, yo, can you just talk to me like a real person? Like, hey, I understand what you were trying to accomplish with this jersey, but I don't think it landed. Here's what I would have changed. Instead of, like, I'm literally going to fucking throw up at the sight of this. And I'm like, guys, please, dude. Like, it's so toxic. But I really like the jersey.
Yeah.
I think a safer bet would have been using a white or a black canvas and then just inverting the text, like black on white or white on black. I think the jersey will still hit. And we have plans for other colorways and primary or alternate down the road, which we always do. But I still don't understand the pushback on that one.
I mean, I'm a fan. You're not going to please everybody, but I guess you got to, like, sell jerseys too. Like, that's part of it. But I mean, like, you got to, like, try and make something sick every year. Like, you got to switch it out every year. Like, you're not going to hit all of them.
And then everybody said that we basically copied Manchester United. I'm like, guys, there's like 5 different teams in esports that use red as primary. Don't even talk to me about traditional sports.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand where you draw the line and bring in similarities between the two, but they are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the photos that we took either did it justice. And Logan's in here. I don't think they're bad photos. But I think we could have dialed the lighting a little differently so that you could actually see the subtle gradient print that gives it an extra touch and identity.
Yeah.
And I really love I've always – the reason why we made the baseball jersey was because I had been around esports since I was 16 years old. And I'm like, who the fuck made the decision that uniform – is always going to be like a fucking synthetic like paintball jersey? I'm like, how did we land here? Like, esports doesn't have to be this. And so the baseball jersey was very polarizing, but a lot of people love it and loved it at the time. But I love like definitely football inspiration, like European, what everybody perceives as football, not American football. We got the collar with the buttons. There's great like detail within the entire jersey, and I don't know.
I mean, the players they look good in them. Like, they don't look like bums up there. Like, still great quality.
I don't think so. I don't think they look like bums either.
I love the jersey, but
you don't. Yeah, all right. I guess I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about at this point, because that's just me having a therapy session.
Yeah, gotta get it out.
I don't think the pushback was deserved, but I understand that people are entitled to their own opinion. Some people didn't like it. It's a pipe dream, but I just wish people would deliver their message with a little bit more grace instead of like shitting on something that we spent a lot of time thinking about. But can't have cake and eat it too,
Sure can't.
If you're up here, people are going to talk shit. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah, part of the game.
All right. So we're back for our second episode of Nadeshot Knows, featuring Joey K.
What's up?
Well, the first episode went so well. We were enjoying the conversation so much, and my calendar was pretty open today.
Yeah.
We've got John and Pete. Pete was the chief strategy officer that we brought on to help us build Project X, which is the internal code name for the video game that we're making. They're at DICE, which is a big conference. It's happening in Vegas. So whenever John's away, the mice will play.
Mhm.
And
I almost wore sweats today to the office because it wasn't here.
well, if they're 100 Thieves sweats, I think that
Of course.
constitutes as like, at one point, John was like, all right, we want everybody to dress professionally when they come to work. We're like, okay, no shorts. I mean, this isn't a fucking prison yard, but like, hey, dress up. Just look like a responsible adult. But now it's like, I don't give a fuck what anybody pulls up in. I mean, if you want to wear shorts, just make sure they're 100 Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came in on their first day. He was the editor, and he came in wearing like Cloud9 apparel. I'm like, brother, you and I need to go have a conversation out back, and I may be strapped.
Get out right now.
I'm like, who the fuck? Why? Actually, it's a good way to make a splash.
Yeah.
I'll never forget him for the rest of my life. So here we are. But yeah, we make good quality sweatpants. The sweatpants from the colors for our 5-year are actually phenomenal. I wear them all the time at home.
And this isn't like a plug at all, but I will say the like original Foundations ones, because they have the zippers on the pockets, are like the best for travel.
Thank you. That's why the majority of our bottoms have zippers, because I'm like, dude,
Actually?
these pants, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
fuck
like,
yeah.
yo, we got to put zippers on everything, because
Yeah.
a lot of times if you wear sweatpants, like if you're just getting in the car, your keys will fall out. At the time, my vape would fall out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted high quality clothing with zippers because it's great for traveling.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean the 5-year colors edition, they don't have zippers, but the pockets go pretty deep.
Those are loungy too. Those
Yeah.
are loungy sweats.
And you know what? I actually don't. If you've never bought 100 Thieves apparel, I think it's tough for people in the gaming community. You either love 100 Thieves or you don't. I don't think there's a lot of in between. And since a lot of our gear has such punctuated branding with the 100 Thieves logo hit, I think you make a decision pretty quickly if you're going to buy something or not. But if you've never bought 100 Thieves apparel, I think most people would be shocked at the level of quality. That's always the toughest message to convey when we do like a marketing campaign for a new drop. I'm like, look, even if you don't like 100 Thieves, I get that. We got product on the way that has significantly less branding, and something I'm really excited to talk about in some way. I don't want to share too much, but the gear itself goes pound for pound with some of your favorite brands that you don't have any issue spending money on. But this toxic mentality, oh, it's a esports gaming organization, there's these clothes suck. I'm like, brother, you gotta come in the trenches with us and actually see how we're making it, because the quality will knock your socks off in most cases.
It's not that paintball jersey we were talking about before.
Yeah,
It's actual clothing.
yeah, 100%. And over the lineup that we have for apparel this year is actually really exciting for me, because we've got a bunch of collaborations. In the first few years, we held off doing collabs because the brand was so new, and we didn't want somebody else's identity to take over ours. And I feel like we've built out a great runway of gear and apparel, whether it's for our teams or, more of a lifestyle play. We have enough history now where collaboration, I think, is going to be fucking amazing. And some of the brands I think people are going to be surprised by. But we spent like 2 hours yesterday, me and you, in the apparel room, and I'm just elated. I'm so excited for some of this stuff to come see the daylight, and it's going to be a fun year. And, talking about the stuff that has less branding, going back to what I was talking about with the quality, even if you hate 100 Thieves, I'm telling you, there's going to be some gear here and apparel that you're not going to have to pick sides. Even if you're a fan of this creator or this team, or you don't like representing like a gaming team with the clothes that you wear every day, brother, we've got some items that at first glance, 100 times out of 100 times, you would never know, even if you sat there inspecting it. As long as you don't look at the label on the neck or the pant, you won't know it's 100 Thieves. So I'm pretty excited about that.
It sucks too, like how you talked about the lead time on apparels, like a year and a half. The fact that you can't, obviously something I never knew before coming into this world, but the fact that you can't like talk about yet what's like a year and a half out right now that we already know is like coming. is crazy.
It's tough because honestly, I think we do that for ourselves. Like if it's not a collaboration with a brand that wants to protect their image and their pipeline, yeah, that's a different story. But when it comes to our apparel, I mean, we really could talk about anything and everything and bring people along the way with us. But I think from a satisfaction and the pride that we take in the clothing that we're making, we're almost like holding off leaking anything just so that we can have that day where we announce it. And it's just the air feels different. You're just excited. You're nervous. How are people going to feel about it? But I wonder if there's a world where I should start sharing more, because it is tough just like sitting on like the things that I'm talking about. And some of the things we reviewed yesterday aren't going to release till midway through 2024. That just fucking sucks. It sucks.
It's so cool too, like what the apparel team is working on and like the work they've put in. It's just like I just want to wear it like right now too, just objectively. Like nothing, all the stuff that we're talking about, like branding, no branding, like it's just like good shit.
Fuck yeah, bro. We're sniffing our own scent right now. I love it, dude. Let's jerk each other off. Come on.
Another Blue Chew segment.
Blue Chew?
Yeah.
What is Blue Chew? What is this?
It's like my roommate and I always joke about it because it's like they're like boner pills, but they're like gummies. But it's like every Patreon podcast.
Oh, I've seen this.
Has like a Blue Chew sponsorship.
Yeah, I don't understand what avenue of business that actually is. I'm like, well, aren't we just using like Cialis and Viagra? I'm actually shocked. I got like a bingo book now. I'm convinced you're gonna say boner pills at least once in every episode that we do.
Try to get that.
Gotta meet your quota.
Got to. But it's like I've never even looked them up. I don't know if they're like gas station like rhino pills that you're getting over the counter.
Yeah, bro, I want to meet the people that would buy those things. Like nowadays, with how much access we have to information, if gas stations are still carrying these pills that God knows what they do, like it'll say unicorn blood. Like what the fuck? Who is buying this?
It'd be a good vlog video for you, vlog concept. You just take like a couple rhino pills, see what happens.
Just okay.
You probably feel wild.
How we're just gonna track? We're gonna track how long it takes blood to enter into my flaccid penis. How are we gonna track that, Joe?
I didn't really think that far ahead, but
this is our first OnlyFans vlog.
Yeah. Fuck the Family Channel.
You're an idiot. We do a Family Channel in the evening, and the mice will play on like OnlyFans at night.
You got your Cartoon Network, and then Adult Swim kicks on at 9 p.m.
Yes, sir. Instead of anime, dicks. But here's the problem. I told Haley in the first episode we might be living under the 405 if we don't start a Family Channel. But, dude, I don't get people that have kinks for feet. Haley's on board for feet pics. She's all about it.
Did you see Micah Parsons? You know who that is? Linebacker for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
He's just doing like a regular NFL interview, and he's like, the guy's like, last question. He's like, what's one like fun fact about you? He's like, oh, I got to think for feet. And the guy's like, oh. It's like, okay, like, all right. Like, he's like, yep.
Brother, I've talked about this before many times, but when people start lobbing like feet pics on like a Twitter timeline, like I just have never understood it. So I looked it up. It's just your wires are like crossing your brain. Like the same way that you and I would look at boobs or butt. They have that same like instinctual feeling about feet.
Yeah.
Just some things got crossed up in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the dad was sticking his foot in there, grabbed on. I don't know. I mean, bro, but that's the real thing. The reason why I say that is because like guys that like big boobs, more times than not, I think there's actually studies behind this and science behind it. Their mother had voluptuous breasts.
Have you heard the thing too that like you marry your mother? Like there's like something about like what you look for in a woman. I don't know if it's like a
Haley is nothing like my mother.
Yeah, that's why.
But I mean, I don't really remember everything. I just remember the bad, which sucks. But
yeah. Well, okay, we don't have to talk about that. But
I'm down. Let's get real.
What else was I gonna say?
Oh, you're going off the beaten path. Is Chandler anything like your mother?
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of freaks me out.
So you and Chandler have been dating for how long? Jesus fuck, dude. I'm sending her this. Oh yeah, I'm snitching.
Couple
Call me
years.
6'9". Couple years? You don't
No,
know how
June.
long?
Uh,
Fucking idiot.
I mean, COVID, all the time blends together.
I can agree with that. I'll
like
co-sign that.
April of 2021.
All right.
Yeah, April 2021 we started dating, but we started talking
So you're
like
coming up on 2 years.
started talking back in like
Or 3.
June.
21, 21, 2022, 2023. That would be 3.
Yeah.
Right?
2.
I don't know how years
We've been
work.
We've been.
You guys can jump in if I'm saying something stupid. Feel free. It's 2 years, right? Or 3?
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Thank
Holy
you, Jen.
shit. Thank
Thank
God
you, Jen.
some of this panned out for me because I am dumb as they come. So what ways is she like your mother?
I was just thinking to myself. I'm like, geez, like, hopefully this pans out for me too, based on that just now. But
Oh, you're just discovering that you're a bit of a space cadet?
yeah. Space cadet's an understatement to some degree, but oh my God, I'm so off track. Okay, yeah, so
Jack, or fucking Joe. Jesus, we're both just schizo right now. Answer my question succinctly and efficiently. In what ways is Chandler like your mother?
it's a loaded question. I don't know. Sorry, I got I have 2.5 Juvees hitting me right now.
So you should be rifling these off. Do you need a fucking boner pill? Dude, you're fucking killing somebody's clicking off the podcast right now because
we can just
you
cut
can't
this part.
answer this question. We're not cutting it. We're no
Okay.
cuts. Come on, Joe. Let's go. You got it.
Okay, rapid fire. She has blonde hair.
Wow, the resemblance is striking.
Yeah.
Thought you were gonna hit me with some emotional.
She's family oriented.
Okay.
She takes great care of me. She cooks. You know, my mother is a great cook, but Chandler does a great job as well. Fuck, I don't know.
All right. Well,
yeah.
we scratched the surface though. You got it out.
Yeah.
I understand that. You know, in this day and age, I feel like you have to be nervous about saying this, but I'm just gonna let it fly. I didn't realize until I met Haley how attracted I am to a woman that loves to be a lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know we've got different gender roles and we don't like to put people in boxes. I totally understand that. But Haley, with how feminine she acts, the way that she carries herself, and maybe even some of the old school traditional gender roles, like of what our grandparents had in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and her parents, whatever. She loves to cook. She loves to clean. She loves to take care of the people around her. You know, I think it's fucking stupid that I should be like nervous about saying that on camera, but I love that lady. I love that lady.
Yeah.
And I love that she wants to be a lady.
Yeah. She is a lady.
Like she's stoked to
she's like a class.
have kids and take care of them and do that full time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need a boner pill. Like I'm attracted to all of the attributes.
You don't have to change diapers or like feed my kids. Like,
No, she said I'm gonna have to change diapers.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna help.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying that
You're not that
she's gonna
big
be
of a piece
locked
of
in the
shit.
fucking house with a lock that locks from the outside and in. Like I don't got bars up on the windows and shit that she can't leave. But I have to change diapers. She said changing diapers is easy when they're babies because the poop doesn't smell. I'm like, there's no way that's fucking true.
It's gotta smell. I don't know though.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Guess we're gonna fuck around and find out. The more you fuck around, the more we find out. Yeah, I don't think Haley. I mean, I know for a fact. So my mom, when I got into my late single-digit years, my early teens, my mom had a slew of health problems. She got into a car accident when she had a seizure while driving, and the car hit one of our neighbors. She was dropping off medication and crackers for my sister in high school, and she had a seizure. She got hit, and she broke like a vertebrae in her back. And even before that, she was an emergency room secretary at the hospital. And she had really bad carpal tunnel, had to like take time off, had to get surgery for it, and just kind of came back like a different woman.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't really put our finger on it and didn't know why it was happening. So, I think she like sued the hospital, won like a small chunk of change, just never got back to even. And then, you know, the seizures start happening, breaks vertebrae in her back. And from there on out, it was just something different every single day. You know, like she would have more seizures. Like my dad was working on a go-kart build in like Iowa. Both my brother and sister were off to college, and she'd be walking in the house in the middle of the night, like creaking open doors out of like a horror story, like looking for my Aunt Debbie in the closet, like under pillows.
Oh, geez.
Just like full on hallucinations. Even before my brother and sister and my dad all were out in that specific time period, she would have seizures in the middle of the night, and, you know, we have to call an ambulance. My dad's running down the fucking stairs in his tighty whities. Like, I pretty bad, like, I had really bad PTSD and anxiety from all of that. And this went on for years. I mean, my mom couldn't sleep. You know, we just, every single day it was something different, and we just didn't know why. I just thought, like, this is reality now. And then we come to find out later on when she passed away that she had just an unbelievable addiction to painkillers. And my dad protected me from that for a very, 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 very long time. And still to this day, I don't even know if I understand like the full timeline of when all this started. And that for me was really tough, because when I think about like Haley and I getting married and having kids and stuff, like I can only remember the trauma, but I can't remember, because of how young I was, like all the good stuff that came before that, because she was like an incredible mom from what, you know, the few good times that I remember, you know, like she got me my first Xbox 360, like surprised me on my birthday. You know, I come home from school, she'd have like Burger King onion rings on the fucking counter, you know? So I guess I do remember good things, but I don't remember like what similarities like Haley and my mom would have together. Because my mom was like a disciplinary. Like, I mean, you're getting fucking yelled at, getting smacked upside the head a little bit, and you better fall in fucking line. Like, she ran that shit like a military. But she was also like a very sweet woman. It's just hard to tie the two together. Haley reminds me of my dad in a lot of ways, because she's just such a gentle soul. Like my dad, you know, hard as fucking nails, but you know, after all of these things happened with my mom, like the first time I saw my dad cry, it's like everything changed. We were driving back from the hospital, and it's the first time I saw tears come down his face, and I can't believe how well he hid it for so long. But ever since then, it's like you pull off the top, you know, anything could set my dad off and it'll see tears. And I'm like, holy fuck, this guy worked construction in the middle of winter in Chicago for 33 fucking years, dude. And now this guy is like the biggest softie and just loves like animals, everything around him. So I pull those two together quite a bit, and they get along great. Like Haley, the reason why we connected so well is because her dad passed away after her younger brother died. He had a rare genetic disease. Her younger brother Tyler. She got one tattoo. It's like a heart with a T in it, and that was the first time that I learned of that. That was on like our second or third date. And I'm like, holy shit. Because people that go through trauma together, like I honestly feel bad for people that haven't lost a parent yet, because it's probably one of the hardest things you'll go through. And now I know what that feels like, and I know that I'm going to be okay. And I feel like if it happens to you, like in your 20s or your 30s, really anytime, I guess, at least you're armed with a perspective. But I don't know. I feel like my own mortality has gotten... I'm a little bit more, I think about dying more often that I'm older. And I've got so many things in my life that rely on me, and I'm like, I have to be there. And losing a parent, I just think would throw that all out of whack once you have like an innate like understanding of who you are, how the world works. Like, it's just going to hit you like a fuck ton of bricks. So not scare anybody. Just know you'll make it through it. I promise you'll make it through it. You know, you'll never forget that pain, but it's easier to deal with, and you don't think about it nearly as often. I digress. But with Haley and her losing her dad and a younger brother, I mean, that's like a facet of loss that I can't even understand. But we hit it off right there and then. You know, I'm like, holy shit, not only is this woman like easy to talk to, but she's gone through a lot of things that I have. And it was just like, it's like you fucking fused our DNA together. Like, you're always going to be together. So I don't know. Trauma has a weird way of connecting people, I think.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's a pretty good phrase to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So Haley and my dad get along great, and I love it because I think she kind of sees him as that fatherly figure. You know, he's like the definition of a man. Like, he knows how to fix everything. When something's wrong at the house, I was putting together a shop vac to vacuum up all the glass from my car. A brick got thrown through it. And I'm like, yo, Dad, I see you with a fucking shop vac every day of my life. Like, what is this plastic bag? Why is this here? And those are the things I get to call my dad about. I wish he lived closer. But I think my dad and my fiance, Haley, they talk more than I talk to my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the other thing, too. She brought me closer to my family.
Yeah.
You know, I have like a lot of guilt and resentment towards myself because after I moved to LA and just got busy with my career, and I know you're not a therapist, but I've talked to Haley about it. I just like stopped talking to everybody, all my friends, my entire family. And that was really tough for me to go through because my grandparents on my mom's side, I was over at their house every single day, every day. They were my godparents. So my dad be at work and my mom would work night shift. So we're there. They're 5 minutes away, living there basically half the time. And I just didn't, I don't know. I just can't figure out. I think because it was so long after like talking to them, I'm like, what are they going to think? Like, I'm just not going to call them. You know what I mean? I don't want to be judged because they don't know how much I actually love them. And I'm definitely not showing it, which is a fucking problem in itself. But as soon as Haley and I started dating, she's like, your family's my family now. Text messages in my sister and I did not get along growing up. And I always had trouble like trying to decipher, like, is my sister just being nicer to me because she got older and matured more? Or is it because I found a little success? But now she's got 4 kids and I want to be around them the way that my Uncle Greg, my dad's twin brother, was for me. And we're a lot better now. But there's just all these fucking thoughts and just my brain just going haywire. But ever since we started dating, you know, we call my grandparents every now and again. Haley sends them gifts, buys gifts for all of my nephews and nieces, is in a group chat with my sister and my brother's wife. Like, it's actually crazy how
That's
much
great.
better of a person she made me. And, you know, you always hear like, oh, a woman has to make you better. Like, this shit is actually true.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying
100%.
every, you know, size fits all. And if you're loving significant other, your partner doesn't do those things, you know, it's not a requirement, but just being a lady, dude, the feminine touch, like, she just makes me better without sounding fucking corny or dramatic. It's kind of lit.
Fills your gaps.
It's pretty awesome. She definitely fills the gaps.
Yeah. But yeah, I think too for you, like, that's great to hear. I mean,
My eyes are raining. That's great to hear.
Sorry, just hit me with 20 minutes of life.
I don't know. I've actually never really talked about a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm at an age now where I'm like, we talk about family. I'm getting married.
Fuck it, why not? But I think it's great. I mean, just for me, like I always joke about how I'm like a greasy Italian, but part of that is like family and like go through trauma, like you losing your mom. Like, there's no like right way to like cope with that.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody experiences it differently. And I'm glad to hear that you're like rekindling with your family because like, again, like I think I'm always in the same boat where I'm like trying like overly empathizing with people or like thinking from their perspective. When really like your sister, your brother, I'm sure like going through their own fucking shit too, like and losing their mom. So like the fact that you aren't still letting that hold you back or like worried about being judged is like great to hear. And like my family, we always just like preach family. Like my grandpa's like 93, just like super like old school guy.
That's a good sign for you. Live long.
Yeah, hopefully.
People don't think about that a lot.
Genetics. That's a whole nother thing. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's like for him, like I've seen like how his siblings have treated him, and they're all like fucking whack, honestly. But
What?
yeah, just where they grew up. They have like there's a lot of like I think there's some inbreeding back in the day.
You're telling me you're inbred? You're a product of
my grandpa's parents were first cousins. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Turn up. All right.
Yeah.
That explains a lot, dude.
Yeah. Right.
Fuck yeah.
But
Nah,
yeah,
I'm just kidding, I'm kidding.
so my
So what's your 23andMe look like?
it's got
Just a weird intersection they can't really explain.
Like, I'm seeing seeing your mother's father and his.
Have you ever thought about?
I was about to go down that.
Okay.
But yeah, but I won't. But point being, like, no matter what, he's always like, he's been such a great example, and it's still like family, like no matter what, it's like still your blood, you know. At the end of the day,
for sure.
So,
I've never really like died on the hill of, oh, family's your blood, so you always got to be there. Like my parents didn't really. We were a small family, and you know, I had my grandparents and a couple cousins, but a really small family. And I guess I never held a lot of weight or felt that emotion as a kid. Like, you know, my dad wasn't drilling in my head like family is everything. You know, like a fucking Mark Wahlberg movie, or Vin Diesel. Family.
Never take sides against the family.
Yeah, and so I think now more than ever, it's just more so I just want to be closer with the people that we all went through this together. But I don't know, man. It's a weird. Psychology is weird. I actually wish in some ways that I looked into that more when I took like a psych class in community college.
Mm-hmm.
But I am really intrigued and fascinated with how the brain works and why people do the things that they do.
Yeah.
You know, just like a predisposition to make decisions in certain facets of their life. But I can't sit here and talk about it on the podcast. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I wish I would have leaned in a little bit more to that because it is interesting.
Yeah. I took a psych class in college. I thought it was going to be like about like serial killers and like psychoanalyzing them. I'm like, this sounds great. And instead it was just like, it's called the DSM, which is like, I have no idea what it stands for actually, but it's like the diagnostic book for all like psychological disorders.
All right, we got the D, it sounds like. Diagnostic.
Yeah. So,
similes, maliciousness,
diagnostic,
malleable.
My brain is going in terrible places.
Dude, you might need to let it fly, brother. I mean, you've already talked about boner pills and serial killers that you were interested in.
I'm working on the filter. I just have like an irrational fear. I know I'm not gonna like say anything bad, but I just have like an irrational fear of doing that.
Because a lot of the things that you say would not be PC for the internet of today.
Yeah, exactly. But so we're working. I mean, we'll let more fly as I get more comfortable in the chair here in the saddle. But point being, that was like the worst class I ever took because now I know every like mental disorder and every symptom of every disorder. So like every day I wake up, I'm like, something's going on. I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm fully schizophrenic. Like, I like rip too many edibles. I'm like, oh shit, I'm hearing something. Like I'm cooked. Like it's
having a fucking panic attack and an existential crisis all at once.
Oh dude, especially like I'm home over break. Like I already talked about this a little bit. Like Christmas break was awesome because I just fucking played World of Warcraft like till my fucking like I actually don't even know what to say. I don't know.
Hemorrhoids.
Yeah, literally, yes.
Eric Cartman, South Park.
Yeah.
Mom.
But I didn't shower. I wasn't showering. Like I was waking up at like 4 p.m. going to bed at like 7 a.m. So I'm like, after a long World of Warcraft session, I power it down. I'm on the couch. I'm at my parents' house at home, and I'm watching television at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just hearing shit all over the house. It's like windy outside. I'm like, all right, this is it. This is it for me. I'm done. But I woke up and
everything was fine.
Just went right back to it. Yeah,
we're not sure if you're schizo, but it would explain a lot.
Yes.
All right, what do you got on this one sheeter here over here?
Yeah. So let's see.
I know we were talking about the end of the last episode. I think what's happening with AI right now, I know it's a fucking buzzword and everybody's talking about it, but it is crazy to me how accelerated everything has become. Like, I'm not sure if people feel the same way as I do, but the internet just hops on, and I don't know if it's just because this is the way the world works, but we just go from trend to trend, and it's a topic of discussion for a few months, and then it hits like a dead end in terms of like how much it's going to grow. And then we move on to the next interesting thing. It's like we had our year and a half of NFTs, crypto, the stock market. And now I don't see anybody talking about day trading. I mean, we're in a recession. Not enough people are talking about that. But in my world, after dealing with our board and investors, like I was kind of privy to a lot of the economic fallout that's happened. But the only thing that you could see on your timeline, like when I think about the last 4 years, it was like how much we hate fucking Donald Trump. And he was saying some wild shit without a doubt. And then we jumped over to NFTs. And now it's like the next big thing in my mind from like the, just aggregate of, thought leaders is like AI.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always heard about artificial intelligence. Like you would see these like clips of Elon at a press conference talking about AI is the biggest threat to human society besides not having enough people procreating and having babies. Like he thinks the underpopulation of the world is going to cause massive problems over the next like 50 to 100 years. But AI is one of those other things like, hey, I don't think we want to knock at that door. Like if we're living in a simulation, once become sentient, if that is ever a possibility, that's when the world ends. It's kind of like what the Matrix fucking was too, in a way.
AI is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was say, to me, AI is like the idea or like the analogy of like Pandora's box. Like I'm like that is something you just know it's not a good idea to open that up.
Well, at the end of the day, like the human race is always going to travel towards progress and innovation. Like it's just the way that our brains work, right?
Yeah.
But AI as like a buzz phrase and term was always just something out in the ether that you heard about since we were kids and we're like, what the fuck is that? To this day, I'm like, what fucking changed in the last 3 years, 5 years of like, how do you even engineer and program like Chat GPT? Like how what did we just turn on as the village idiot that does not understand how it came to be? Like what the fuck happened from a coding and engineer perspective that just allowed us to finally break through a wall and have these unbelievable tools at our hand now?
Well, first off, I think you might be asking the wrong guy that question.
That was a rhetorical question, Joe, for the community. I promise you, with everything in my being, it was not you trying to get to the bottom of artificial intelligence.
I took a Python programming class in college. Talk about that.
I did that in high school, AP Computer Science. It
Yeah.
was like the last AP class I ever took. I'm like, everybody around me is really fucking smart, and I may be the dumbest man alive.
Yeah.
Got a C+ just because Mr. Sandor, that was my fucking boy. He was my algebra teacher, and I don't think he was like ready to be teaching AP Computer Science, but it was something that the school district had to offer.
Yeah.
And he kind of knew what he was doing, but I don't think he was best suited to teach that class.
Yeah.
And Mr. Sandor, somehow, some way, if you see this, that is just 14-year-old me's perspective on it. I know you're a really smart guy, so I'm not knocking it. But I'm not good at learning in ways, or I didn't realize what I needed to learn, but I just could not fucking grasp anything. I was just scrolling on Reddit and Dig at the time, which was even bigger at that time. While I'm like my final project trying to figure out how to make like a mini game, like checkers. And I got like a mall over here who just like solved like life's biggest problems with the program he created. I'm like, dude, holy shit, I'm an idiot. So, all right, let's get off computer science. I want to get back to AI because for me, the reason that this came up was because of all these presidents' voice boxes or voice soundboards that AI is creating. And I don't think the Donald Trump one is that good because that's the only things that I've seen is with Barack, Donald Trump, one with George Bush, and then Sleepy Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the, like Barack Obama sounds fucking unbelievable, whatever they're using.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to think that in these last 3 months of AI being the topic of discussion for everything, now we're seeing the first wave of creators using AI to make a video full stop, and they're just going viral. And I'm like, is that because it's the gimmick of what AI is capable of doing, or is it actually because this is good content that people find funny? And I think it's a little bit of both, but it just makes me wonder and think what the next 5 years are going to look like from a creator's perspective.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to scare anybody in this room at all because I'm going to be out of a job too, but I'm like, in 10 years, will you even need to edit a fucking video? Like, what is Premiere and DaVinci and fucking Lightroom and Photoshop and Illustrator? Like, if you could just give a prompt and then dial it in, even at this point of like the infancy of what we understand from a service level, village idiots, me and you.
Yeah.
Like, if we're capable of doing that now, what is it going to look like in 10 years?
Yeah, are we going through like a renaissance or an industrial revolution right now and we don't even know it?
Wow, that
Yeah.
was sick.
Yeah, right.
Pulled that one out of a history book.
But-
Industrial Revolution.
She got it pulled up on my laptop right now.
Nice job.
I'm just kidding. But also, am I like a piece of shit for saying this? Where it's like the thing that
Yes.
we're saying
Whatever you're going to say, yes.
The thing that also sucks about AI is like I'm already seeing like a million fucking TikToks like here's how I like leverage AI in my day-to-day job. Like here's how I made $250,000 using
Here's
AI.
how you're going to leverage AI to be the best drop shipper in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
You need a side hustle.
Yeah.
Drop shipping and AI programming.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna download these 6 programs, and then this is the script you're gonna give it, and you're gonna create your own model to analyze markets and trends. I'm like, God fucking damn it, dude. Like, am I gonna have to start using fucking AI to like keep up with people? Obviously, I'm not gonna do any of that, but like,
It's going to stay in your place.
yeah, it's like when NFTs came out. Like, I was working in management at the time, and NFTs hit, and it's like, great, now I gotta figure out like what the fuck NFTs are and how they work, so we can like monetize it.
Fuck these people for making me have to learn something.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like, I just wish they crawled back into the hole that they came from, but here they are, and this is what AI is too.
Man, it is. I'm actually pretty excited just because it's like this camera that I have right here. This is a Sony FX3. It's basically like pound for pound the same as my A7S Mark III. You know, if we got into the technical details, and beyond like the form factor of the camera and some of the changes that they made to the software, like they don't actually output very different images, but it's, for me, every video past like 2014 was filmed on a Sony AS7 Mark II. And for years, dude, I was just looking for a solution for vlogging because with the, you know, if you go look at any video before like maybe 2-3 years ago of like FaZe Rug, one of the biggest YouTubers, this guy was using a Canon G7X. I had that camera back in like 2013. That's when I started making videos at the Optic House and a GoPro, whatever. I just like to tinker with new technology that's going to make my life easier.
Yeah.
And finally, after waiting for so long, I thought it was going to be the Panasonic GH5. It's a Lumix. It had a flip out screen, which is the point that I was trying to get to. So I can actually see what the fuck is happening instead of guessing with the lighting conditions and am I overexposed, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So this GH5 comes out with a flip out screen. I'm so excited. Everybody's talking about this is like the next camera that every vlogger needs to be using. And then it turns out that the autofocus sucks. Like, you know, we're hoping we get a software update. The thing just wasn't good for what I was capable of getting out of it.
Yeah.
Because autofocus is a big thing when you're vlogging. Like, you don't want to have to set up every shot. I digress. But after a few years, the A7S III comes out, and it's everything that I wanted it to be. You know, my A7S II now is a workhorse. That camera's going to be buried with me because now it's my stream camera.
Yeah.
And that thing just works. And it's never failed me. But with how quickly technology evolved, it's wild for me to think, like, how badly I needed this. And now I have it in the palm of my hand every single day. I don't know how I got to that point, but I just think with tools that creators have and what AI is going to do, it's going to be a really fun or terrifying 10 years ahead of us.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, if you look at it like that, where it's like easing the process and making things more convenient,
yeah,
you know, it's great. But
like this photo, for instance, because as soon as, like, you know, with all the things that have popped up, I'm like, I want to try a little bit of everything. So I saw a Spotify curated app that will just go into your history of music, or you can give it a prompt like, hey, I want early 2000s hip hop. Give me some Eminem, Drake, Kanye West, like Wiz Khalifa, and it'll just spit out whatever you need it to be.
Yeah.
Or it can just go into your data, like the Spotify API, and just build you playlists for however you're feeling that day. It wasn't that great. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of like not a gimmick. It works for what it's, but it's not as intuitive as it should be.
Yeah.
And then I downloaded this photo editing AI software because, you know, I go through my bouts of just, I'm super excited about filming and shooting this month. Let's get after it. And this photo actually, I think, is pretty interesting. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to tell anybody. I don't think it really matters that much as it is. But this photo that I uploaded to my Nadeshot photography account, this is not the real sky from the original photo. Like, this is within 5 seconds of asking it
Like
to
I said.
swap out the sky, that is completely AI superimposed, edited into the photo. And I didn't have to lift a fucking finger. It's not like I had to, get in there with like a brush and make it all fit and look proper, because I don't know how to fucking do that anyways. I mean, I fuck around with radio gradients and the masking effects and all that. I can't explain it, but I know how to do it.
Yeah.
But that photo specifically
So those clouds and everything.
is from like a first iteration of AI photo editing. So
the
I think it's going to be like the space race of every company. It's like, what, Bing or who bought Chat GPT? It was Microsoft, right? Or they're trying to buy it.
No, I think Microsoft owns Bing.
I know, but I thought they also made. Either way, I just think everybody is now going to find their own niche within AI.
Oh yeah.
And just everybody's going to be racing to create the most intuitive and functional products for every industry to just streamline all logistical operations. I sound fucking corporate.
Microsoft confirms its $10 billion investment in a Chat GPT.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. See, I read the headlines.
Yeah, I read.
I read some of these words. I know some of these words.
But
But
was the app too that they made like the AI avatars?
yeah, there was a million of those.
Yeah,
But
that was cool.
game development's going to be wild.
Yeah.
I think artists in general, like anybody that creates,
I think
you better get on board or you're going to be left behind. Like, you got to use this as like, I saw a lot of artists like complaining, like, you're taking food off our tables. I'm like, hey, it's just the way the world goes.
Yeah.
Like, you think people that were doing television or radio wanted the television and then the internet? Like, that's an entire industry that's just fucking.
Yeah. I think I'm just realizing how pessimistic of a person I might be, but now I'm thinking about the practical positive uses, like you just mentioned with games, like AI. I think integrated into like storylines and interactions where it's like complete unique gameplay and like stories to how like cater to each individual. Like, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I'll say this though, Netflix. I know you guys did it with another series where you could watch it in different order. What's this fucking show? Kaleidoscope.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
Hey, bro, just give me episode 1 through 10. Like, I don't want to go through TikTok like, oh, this is the order that you should watch it. I already know the show is gonna be dog shit.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
just give it to me straight.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want when I sit down and I watch a TV show, I don't want to have to fucking pick my order.
I don't want to think.
No. I don't want to do it, but
we're definitely grumpy old men in that sense, because maybe it was great, but I never watched it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Also, I mean, like, I still think robots are gonna take over at some point. So,
I feel like we should be like rolling a blunt right now, just fucking just taking it to the face. I'm sorry if any of this, for anybody listening, if this was like incoherent, like bullshit, and it's like, why am I going to listen to these two morons talk about something they know nothing about when I could just think about it myself? But hopefully that was fascinating in some way. Podcasting's weird. What else have we got on here, Joe?
All right, let's get back in here. Title: Riffing with Matt Thought Starters. By the way.
Oh my god, this is a gem.
Do you want to talk about like any entertainment, pop culture stuff? I mean, we got golf, we got waste management, we had the Super Bowl. You had a big week. You went on vacation. Some other things happen in your life?
Yeah, I'm fucking with Max Homa, bro. I'm excited. I'm not going to go a deep dive into golf because I don't want to lose everybody's interest if you don't watch golf. But Full Swing just came out on Netflix. Same producers as Drive to Survive. They also did this tennis show. One of our friends, Taylor Fritz, was on there. He's like up to world ranking number 5 or 6, which is fucking unbelievable. He just won another tournament. Mm-hmm. But Full Swing is very similar to Drive to Survive, and they did like a deep dive on Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler. And I don't know what changed in the last few years. You would think that the interest in golf would actually be on a decline because of all the trials and tribulations Tiger Woods is going through, because in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, he was carrying golf on its back. And I think COVID helped a lot because golf was one of the first things that you were actually able to go and do. And that kind of fucked everybody living in LA unless you're a member at a country club, because tee times were impossible to get. Meanwhile, 5 years ago, me and Rich could be boozing until 2 a.m., book a tee time at 2 a.m. and be at the course 7 hours later without any fucking problems. But now tee times are tough to get. But I'm really excited for Max Homa because this guy, when he first came into popularity, it was because he was like trolling on Twitter, like making fun of people's swings in like a classy but humorous way.
Mhm.
And I don't think people realized, and maybe not even myself, as somebody who wasn't watching a lot of golf, how talented he actually was.
Mhm.
Fast forward a couple years later, he's now won like 6 PGA events, and he almost won the Genesis back to back, or he won it in 2021. That was during COVID. He's from LA. He's got like a famous quote, like, you've got the Lakers, you got the Dodgers, and now there's me. Like, I'm a champion of LA, like homegrown.
Mhm.
And he was in contention all weekend. Him and John Rahm at one point were tied on Sunday, and John Rahm just started making some fucking unbelievable putts, and he just didn't have enough, daylight on holes left to make his comeback. But that guy, him and Bryson DeChambeau, I will always sing their praises, because in the middle of COVID, I was trying to work on my swing, and Max Homa plays a bunch of video games, and he was tweeting about Warzone. I sent him a DM. This guy literally went in his backyard 10 minutes later and sent me like a swing instructional video trying to help me get better at golf.
Mhm.
So he's becoming like a fan favorite now. He's just a really genuine guy, and I can't wait. I think he's got a major coming his way this year. But I've just never been more excited, not even with full swing coming out and actually displaying these personalities. Like, golf has never been in a better place, because you've got a lot of young guys on tour that are winning, and they're using social media to really get their message and their brand out there.
Mhm.
And it just feels like one of these top 15 players is winning every event on every given weekend. So there's continuity behind who you're watching and what you're paying attention to. Like, I know that golf, if you don't play it full stop, you probably have no interest in watching it.
Mhm.
Like, even for me sometimes, like, I watched the Genesis and Waste Management just because those were like the 2 biggest tournaments. One, because Waste Management is almost like a major in itself with how much people care about it. But I watched all the coverage on Thursday and Friday when I had time, and the Genesis because Tiger was playing his first tournament in a long time.
Mhm.
But all these golfers now, if you can find somebody to be invested with and actually like want to win, the game just becomes so much more fun to watch. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as you have somebody to root for, you're actually thinking about it. You're Googling throughout the week, like, is there anything on Twitter, like, of any news about his game as of late, or like the storylines going into the event, who's playing, who's not playing. And, you throw live into there, that's a whole nother can of worms. But golf is just really exciting right now.
Yeah.
And I've never watched golf more in my life until these last like 2 years. And I've actually been trying to get better and improve, because before that, never had any lessons growing up. Started taking lessons in LA. It took like 4 or 5 of them. Just didn't work out well with the instructors. They left the place that I was going to. And I finally picked it back up like 3 months ago. It's really hard to change a swing if you grew up with bad habits. So it's like a never-ending battle for me personally in my golf game. But it's like the best hobby to have. It's like the only way for like a man or a woman as an adult, one of the few ways to have something to look forward to every week. Like, you got a tough week of work, guess what? You're going to be teeing off at 8 a.m. under the sun, having drinks with your fucking friends and family, and just trying to compete against yourself, compete against them, hit a ball as far as you can. Then you got to get precision. You might be able to get to the green in 2 every time, but are you going to 3-putt like me? It fucks your entire round. So just a great game. And I think if everybody started paying attention more, because it's got a steep barrier of entry, really expensive game, but it doesn't need to be expensive. Go get some clubs from the thrift store. Go play at a muni course. You don't have to spend a lot of money, just get in the mix.
Yeah.
And see if you like it.
Now, with like, not so much like because golf is doing great. I think all the drama with the live and everything like that, like, it's just being talked about way more, and you see like PGA 2K coming back out and all of that. But that being aside, like, spending so much time with you, like, being around you often, like, you're obsessed with golf, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with golf, but that's just how my brain works, bro. Like, it was a hard uphill battle explaining it to John, like, why my interest would like waver in certain things that we're doing 100 Thieves or the business more broadly, because I have ADHD, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get into that, but I just get compulsive and obsessed with things in waves. Like, for me, it'll be golf for 3 months, then I won't play for like 3 more months, and my obsession is streaming. And then something will happen. I'll get busy with work and I can't stream for a couple days, and I'm mad at myself for all the progress I could have been making. But then I'll pick the camera back up like, oh, if I can't stream every day, let me film something.
Mm.
And then I'll obsess over photography. I'm like learning everything I can about, the colors and tones and editing and post and how do I get better at this? So I'm obsessed with golf, but only in certain parts of the year.
Yeah.
My brain just skips to something else. I'll do that for a couple months. Something will knock me off that road that I'm on, and then I'll just jump over to one of the 4 or 5 other things that I love. So, yeah, I'm obsessed with golf right now for sure.
Let's say, what's your many obsessions or passions or hobbies? What's in right now for you?
Trying to make more content with the camera. I used to vlog every day, and it's been weird, especially for probably people that watched me. I used to upload to YouTube literally every single day, not only on my main channel, but my second channel. And I feel like a sense of guilt for not uploading. But it's more so like I got to make sure that, we started Juvee, started High Ground, 100 Thieves. Like the original intention behind me, like leading this was, I'm like, hey, I got a huge community. We're going to jumpstart the business, get all these eyes on 100 Thieves as a brand. And I'm going to just continue to drive interest through the content that I make. But I didn't realize and anticipate how difficult it was going to be to scale the business, how involved I actually had to be. And so I need to make sure that I'm relevant. You know what I mean? Like we can pay people to like promote our products, but I'm the one that like along with the rest of the team at 100 Thieves created them. I got to make sure people know about it.
Yeah.
So I would say right now I feel so much resentment towards myself for quitting editing because I found Logan and he can edit better than I can, but there will be certain cuts that he sends me where I'm like, fuck, I would have kept this in there. I would have cut this a little shorter. And normally he's like dialed 99.9%. And I won't even say anything to him because I'm like, it was probably better off that he edited than I did.
Yeah.
But I feel like my blade got dull because I was getting pretty good at Premiere and I was getting pretty good at filming for myself. And I just went the route of like, oh, we got to film content for 100 Thieves and all of our partners. We're hiring a production team. And I'm just going to remove that stress and burnout that I had from waking up, filming something, editing it till 2 a.m., waking up, uploading it, thumbnail, title, and then I got to film again for the next 6 hours so I can start editing so I can get another video up.
Yeah.
And I hated it at that moment because I was so burnt out, but I regret not continuing to do it in some capacity because I feel like I'm relearning everything again. But I've been pretty excited about, I was having a really hard time with the shift from like a 10-minute video, so you get a mid-roll in there, but I enjoyed making like those longer videos, like a vlog on YouTube, to then taking that similar style and condensing it to a minute on Instagram and TikTok. So that's been a challenge for me because I like to ramble. I like to do more while I'm filming, and then I can edit it down to however I want. But it's really challenging when I'm like actually talking to camera to get it interesting for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And that's the max you can go.
Yeah.
So that's been like an uphill battle, but I've been pulling inspiration from different people's styles. Like, I'm not saying Lo invented like the daily vlog that he does, but certainly like, oh wow, you're really good at this. Like, I just want to let you know, I'm not trying to like steal your whole flow, but I love what you do. Like, this kid's younger than me. I've been in the game for a long time. And I just want to make sure I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to copy and paste what you do. I used to do this with B-roll in a certain way. I don't go into that with him, but I'm like, I just want you to know it's a sign of respect. Like, your shit is like, oh, wait, I hear a song in the car. I'm going to film this. I know exactly how I'm going to edit it. Like, it just kind of comes in waves and inspiration. So that's been kind of what I've been doing for the last like month and a half.
I think too, going off of that, like obviously a really big thing today too, and we talked in the last episode how like you hate the term content and like the job is content creator, but like there's this huge wave now of building businesses around content creators, and you touched on a little bit in terms of like the pressure you feel to like make content and stuff, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand how involved you really are with the business and like the day to day, like, and so many people like want to just be like, oh yeah, like I have an audience, I have like distribution, now I want to build a business around myself. And I don't know how much they fully understand like the actual workload or like the additional pressures, and so many people want to get into it. So So I think like more generally, like, can you just talk a little bit about like, like what kind of pressure, like you talk about like trying to stay relevant and also grow the business. Like what's it like day to day for Nadeshot? Like the pressures, like some like difficulties that you've had to go through. Like you mentioned staying relevant. Like
Yeah.
what's going on? Like,
Well, I think, there was a moment where we were doing self-made podcast. It was me and Jackson, and he asked a question similar to this, and I had brought up the fact that I would always wonder, because when I first started 100 Thieves, my YouTube channel was crushing. I was making a fuck ton of money. Brands were finally starting to invest their marketing budgets into gaming content. And over the next like 4 years, almost to like present day, money was just pouring from the sky for creators that had an audience. Like the budgets that these brands and agencies would bring to the table for some of these creators. I'm like, fuck, man, I yanked the cord a couple years too early. I should have, hindsight 2020, but I said something along the lines of that. And my partner, John, who, is one of my closest friends to this day, and we're still, trying to guide the ship for 100 Thieves. He was really pissed off. He's like, that was so selfish of you. Like, I can't believe that you would say that. Meanwhile, we've got tens of millions of dollars from our investors. That's real money. And we've got an entire staff of 100 Thieves employees that are working every day to try to make this business that you started successful. And I'm like, it was the first time I think him and I actually had an argument, because I'm like, whoa, motherfucker. Like, my content before 100 Thieves was me talking about how I feel, what I do day to day. Like, this is a real, again, without going into like my financial situation with 100 Thieves, I sacrificed short-term cash to hopefully make 100 Thieves successful one day and not have to worry about money ever again. But, there's definitely like a part of me that's like, man, I could have got to where I was trying to go maybe in these last 5 years just doing content full time. So that was something I openly talked about, and, that's water under the bridge. He understands me better now. I understand his perspective, and I agreed with both. But I think the toughest part about 100 Thieves is balancing all the things that we're doing, right? Because, this article came out a couple weeks ago. A lot of people are like questioning, even former employees, like, why the fuck did you guys start Juvee? Like, that's stupid. And I'm like, well, listen, when we first started raising money with 100 Thieves and you were trying to raise capital to keep your business alive, if you weren't profitable yet, the only thing investors at that time were asking about were, are you doubling revenue year over year? Like, are you continuing? How much money are you making? Okay. And how are we going to grow that? How are we going to be $1 billion business one day? So esports as a whole, like even as like the LCS in Valorant and Call of Duty, it hasn't been monetized at the level of which a lot of outside investors expected. And I've been in esports for a long time. I know how difficult it is for teams to make money. But 100 Thieves was, as a brand, we always viewed it as this could push everything that we want to do forward. We've spent 3 years scaling the team. We're selling partnerships against our content really, really well. Our teams are performing some years in different titles really, really well. We're selling more apparel than any team has ever sold. I mean, without, again, going into details. But the business was great. We were doubling revenue year over year over year. We were crushing. We're like, okay, in 15 years, if esports never, shakes out the way that some people think it will or some people don't think it will, how do we insulate our business to make sure that the people that are working here have a career? And how do we make $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar company? Like, okay, well, we have an incredible grasp on the gaming community. I've always wanted to have my own controller, or, for me, when I look at Razer and Logitech and Corsair, they make great products, but they limit themselves from a creativity standpoint. And there's really not that much different about the products besides, new innovations, the weight of the mouse or the switches that you're using on a keyboard. Like, I would love to find the perfect fit for us to invest in the hardware space. We found high ground. That's been a tremendous success. And with Juvee, I wanted to start an energy drink after 100 Thieves. I'm like, I don't think we have the time nor the resources right now for us to really give a really good shot at this. I was going to do it after 100 Thieves, but at the time, our CRO, Maddie Lee, who I love to death, Barstool had a lot of success with like Pink Whitney and a lot of like products that they built in unison with another brand. And that was like a brand new revenue stream for them. And so Maddie had brought up like, what do you think about doing like an alcohol? And so I started talking about the energy drink, and I know it's a super competitive market, but it's just another, we have this road into the gaming community where we know people in the gaming community are going to try it. So let's build a brand that is, doesn't have any ties to the gaming community because we can get it in their hands, and let's do something that's bigger than just what we do with like High Ground, which is endemically gaming, and esports, which is 100 Thieves. And I'm kind of going all over the place here, but the long story short about the things that stress me out the most is, yeah, I can talk about my personal balancing act of like what Nadeshot could have been and the roadblock I put myself in front of me to help 100 Thieves grow. And no matter how you look at it, I'm helping myself. But as me as an individual, I don't go out and talk about the things that really weigh on my shoulders and heavy on my head. I'm happy. I've made a great living, and I could probably fuck off to Texas and live the rest of my life and not make another dollar and be fine. But, once you get something, you want more of it. It's just human nature. And now that I got kids on the way, or me and Haley are going to have kids, we're getting married, it's been weird. It's like this, I'm like, fuck, man, I got to keep going. You know what I mean? So I'm all in with 100 Thieves. And, whether I used to have imposter syndrome really bad with 100 Thieves because I wasn't sure, being surrounded by so many like successful like career men and women, I felt like I wasn't capable of making big decisions for us or sharing my opinion because I'm like, hey, well, these guys have built a living off of what they're here to do. Who am I to question or push them about what my instincts are telling me? And so a lot of that has gone away because I've embraced the fact that I feel like I understand our business really, really well. And I don't have a problem sharing my opinion about the direction that we should go and all the small decisions that, have built this foundation that we have. And man, it's so hard to like sit here and talk about the things that weigh heavy on me. I mean, it's been tough this last year and a half because we did a second round of layoffs, and that shit is like, I can't sit there and talk to people like about how that made me feel because it's not about me. Like, we had to let people, like, their career has ended with 100 Thieves because of the decisions we made. But like the month of December, I knew we had the holiday break coming and new Call of Duty came out. I basically just buried myself away streaming because I like, we want to give everybody a paid holiday break, and then we're going to jump into the heavy shit in January. And I just have so much guilt and shame that we had the company get to a point where we had to do a second round of layoffs. Like, I told everybody when we did it the first time, I'm like, I'm never going to fucking do this again. Like, it's not going to happen. And then we go through annual planning. Everything is fucking great. And then, a couple rugs get pulled out from underneath us. A couple, partnerships fall through. And all of a sudden, our projections for what 2024 is going to look like is like, hold on, hey, we gotta get a grasp on this ASAP. And so you have like a duty to your investors, your board, your employees, the creators, the teams, the brands that you are currently still working with. You got to make tough decisions. Like, and when people get in the way of that or feel the repercussions of that, I just never got into business ever anticipating that was something that I would have to do because everything was fucking roses and rainbows for the first 4 years. Yeah. So that one hit me hard. And it's those types of things that have compounded over the years of just making hard decisions that affect people. Yeah. It's my least favorite part of the job. And in some ways, like that has probably been the biggest like stressor for me at 100 Thieves because the decisions that I make every day impact a fucking lot of people. Yeah. And when you start getting down to like the nitty gritty of what I need to do, what's best for myself, it's like, I can't think that way anymore. I can try to make decisions that will help me in the future, that will help the business. But every decision I make just has so much more weight to it now, and it's fucking terrifying sometimes. But
Yeah.
I can't complain. These are first world problems in a lot of ways. So
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, man. I'm really involved in the business. Like some years less than I was today, but that's just because I just didn't feel capable of doing the things that everybody was asking me for. Like board meetings used to be like fun for me because I just chop it up with these really smart guys.
Yeah.
And everything was going well. But as soon as things started getting tough, I'm like, fuck, man, I'm 30 years old, bro. I've been doing this for 6 years. Like I'm working with people that I met a month ago, and I got to be responsible, dude. Like, so yeah, I don't know, man. Look, I'm not looking for anybody to empathize with me. But I'm my own person too. And it's like hard with like starting a family. What should I be doing? What's best for 100 Thieves?
Yeah.
What's best for the board? What's best for everybody?
Yeah.
It makes making what seem like easy decisions much harder because I'm just like fucking drive myself crazy about who's going to get affected by what I decide to do every single day.
Yeah. I feel like too, like going from, how long were you doing content before 100 Thieves? Like 10 years?
I think I uploaded my first YouTube video in like 2008.
Okay. It's been, so like 9-10 years, close to that, give or take. But going from that, I feel like being a content creator, now obviously there's like teams built around people with editors and things like that, but it's like such a solitary job by nature where it's just like solely on you and like what you wake up and do. And then for you to pivot into 100 Thieves and now have to deal with all this stuff too, where it's like now it's not just about you and you have so many people's like livelihoods on the line that like, that's something I feel like when you get into a business and you have venture money coming in and people want to start this business around you, it's all exciting. And those are the things you never really think about. And it's like, the grim side of being like a business owner or operating a business.
Yeah, it definitely was a culture shock, like the change, because even when me and Blake were talking about 100 Thieves, the intention was always for me to be just like the front man and silo all the attention I could from the content that I was already creating and it's going to continue to create just to make 100 Thieves bigger and better every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But quickly that just changed when me and John met because here's somebody who's a really experienced operator, but he's looking at me. I'm the founder of the company, and I don't think we both understood what our dynamic would be like together. So I went from like all the freedom in the world to going in the office 9 to 5 every day. I was like, holy fuck. Like now that I'm 6 years into it, I'm like, holy shit. Like how did that happen? And some months and some periods of time were better than others. But at the end of the day, I'm actually really proud where we've netted out. Some of the things that you read in these articles too, and former employees and maybe even current employees, like I'm sure people judge the decisions that we make every single day. Like Juvee, High Ground, Project X, and even decisions that we make around the core business of 100 Thieves. Like, anybody that's working here is intelligent enough to be like, I'm judging you and all of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, man, I fucking lost my train of thought. Okay. I don't think people actually put a lot of value in, and sometimes I resent the time of which 100 Thieves started and where we're at today, because we went from starting the business and everything was going great, and we opened up the compound after working on this fucking thing for a year and a half, probably even more than that. We went from the Rock and Mortgage team house, like 6 people in the master bedroom while the other team's competing on the other side of the house, to moving into Spaces, which is a co-working office building. Then we went into WeWork. Then we finally get our facility, the naming rights from Cash App. 1 month in, COVID starts.
Yeah.
And we had no idea that the next 2 to 3 years were going to be the biggest like culture shock for like worldwide everyday life. And so our employee count went from the business still doing really, really well. We scaled from like 30 or 40 people to like 150 in the midst of COVID. Half the people that are working with each other, they've never even like sat outside eating lunch like we did in the early days, going chopping it up at the office, like forging like strong relationships where you want to help each other because you spend so much time and you like the time that you spend with them. And so with my lack of experience of like scaling a business and having that many people working there, even 30 or 40 was daunting to me. We doubled the size of the company, and we had to. We fucking had to support all the things that we were bringing money in to do. I want people happy working here. I used to say this a lot. Like, I didn't need to come fucking do this. Like, I was doing great, but I actually believe in 100 Thieves as a brand. And I'm not trying to sound like, the morality, like I did it for everybody else.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I enjoy being here are for the last 3 weeks that we've had it. Like, actually being at the office has been fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Hanging out with people, chopping it up. That was when our best ideas came from the beginning of 100 Thieves, when we were just bullshitting, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And so we go through those 2 years of COVID, and then we finally get back on track. We're working on come back to work plan. And then another wave of COVID hits. And then right after that, we jump into a fucking recession.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden, we've got these unbelievable partnerships lined up with some of the best brands that would be on like a dream board of me to work with. And then one after the other, it's like, hey, we love what you guys are doing. We want to be involved. But, I got my CMO and our CEO telling me that our budget just got cut by 70%. So luckily, like, not to scare anybody in this room or any employees listening, like, because of the tough decisions that we made, which I'll have regret for the rest of my life. And I'm not saying that to have you think of me any better or perception. We had to make tough decisions for the betterment of the company and the duty that we have to ourselves, 100 Thieves, our board, and our investors who put real money into this. Company's in a great place. Like, we level set expectations. We had the hard conversations, and we made changes, and I've never been more excited for the future of 100 Thieves. That's a God's honest truth. But the last year and a half has just been really, really tough. And I'm not like using COVID and this recession as like an excuse as to why me and John had to let people go and make a bunch of significant changes to the company.
Yeah.
But I damn sure when I'm thinking about it at night by myself, like, I definitely think it played a part. So it's easy to talk about these things at a high level over the course of a year and a half or 6 years that I've been doing this now. But the nuances of like worrying about people's well-being and the dynamic of trying to keep everybody happy while also trying to push the business forward, it's been a lot for me, just out of my depth. But I feel like I've acclimated to it. I have a lot more optimism. I know how to handle situations better emotionally, because I'm an emotional guy, dude. Like, it's fucking impossible to be talking about the heavy shit that was going on and then go film a podcast and look people in the eye that I know that we're probably going to have to say goodbye to. Like, this shit was, I'd rather be buried 6 feet under than do it again.
Yeah.
So we're doing everything we can. That business is a much better place. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this will keep, because I just don't want people to think that this isn't about me. This is a show that we're doing together, and I'm talking about it out loud. But I know what I'm going through is not half as bad as somebody saying like, "Hey, your salaried job is gone."
Yeah.
Like, I fucking get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the point of this, and the reason I ask you, is you have a very unique perspective, being like a creator, and now you're at the head of very an emerging industry and a successful company. Like, I just think it's important for people to hear like your take and like what you've had to go through, because I think just a lot of people, they see 100 Thieves or they see other businesses, Mr. Beast as well, like, and they want to immediately emulate that.
What the other thing that it drives me up the wall is like, bro, I'm getting out fucking classed by Low. I'm promoting Juvee. KSI and Logan are in another fucking universe of how they promote Prime.
Yeah.
And I come in and I'm like, fuck, dude, we got to make decisions about who we're hiring. And bro, and maybe the decision that me and John made spread ourselves too thin about what we're actually capable of dealing with every day with, 3 new businesses and still like a ton of things to unpack with 100 Thieves to get us on the right track. But I'm like, fuck, man, I want to meet with our executive team. Like, I want to have these one-on-ones. Like, I want to make time for, like, people need the CEO to be involved. But I'm also like, dude, I got to go make a fucking video to sell these keyboards and these cans of Juvee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I put my neck out on the line with the board and was like, yo, trust me, this is going to work. And I'm like, just having a hard time compartmentalizing, making the time for the things. These people need priorities from me, have their priority list. I have my priority list of dealing with them and helping them with whatever they need. But then this other thing is like, yo, I got 5,000 people less watching me day to day while I'm streaming. If I upload a video right now, that thing probably get 20,000 views on my main channel. I used to get 300,000 in 24 hours. I'm like, fuck, man. So, what's great is that we've made a lot of decisions to help me have more time to do the things that I think are necessary for the business to be thrusted moving forward to where we want it to be. But for anybody, it's tough. I feel like I'm even talking to our employees. I'm like, yo, look, I think the next few years are going to be really exciting. We've got some incredible things on the horizon, and I'm all in, like this is make or break for me, dead ass. Because I'm not going to go work a job, like John or Jen in this room, for instance. Jen, and I'm not marginalizing like with the pressure she probably feels. And that's the fucked up part. You could have 100 employees. That's easy to talk about. Every single person has to wake up and have the same thoughts that I'm having about their own life, their own family. They got to do what's best for them. But I'm not going to go be an executive at a Fortune 50, Fortune 500 company for the next 30 years and have a consistent paycheck. Like if 100 Thieves doesn't work out, I don't have the same following. I'm not going to make the same amount of money, which is still good money. Don't get me wrong, but I'm all in, not only because I love it, because I have to be as well. So I'm fucking trying to make this thing a success with every last breath. Whatever reason that is or that you care about, doesn't matter. I'm all in. So we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fuck you chicken strips. I don't know. Dude, I just went and off on a fucking...
I feel like that was good. I feel like good for you to get that off your
definitely
chest.
feel a little lighter.
Yeah.
I could do like an episode a day about each year of 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Each month of 100 Thieves. It's crazy how much I remember, but also don't. It's been a wild ride, dude.
It's weird for me to think, dude, I've been here for like a year and a half now, and like so much has happened. But the fact that Logan's here, he's celebrating like his 5-year anniversary
I know, man.
today. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, there's a lot more to this and that has gone into this, like.
Brother, it's building a business is hard.
Yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding as well. But yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad sometimes now that like I'm so glad. I know that people are probably like, fuck, man, I don't want to go back to the office. Like, working in your own space at home is probably great because you get certain freedoms and you don't have to worry about somebody staring over your shoulder. But I genuinely, dude, the last like 2 weeks, I've been in the office a couple times each week. Last week I was on a vacation for a wedding. But the days I've had in the office just make me like I feel reminiscent, but also present of like what 100 Thieves used to feel like. And I think as soon as people get into like a month or 2 or 3 months of being back in the office, I think they're going to look back on the time when they work from home and certain things they'll miss. But being here, like they're just like an electricity in the air. Like everybody's smiling. I don't know if everybody's truly happy. I hope they can be. But like working from the office, man, this used to be like I used to fucking look forward to coming to the office. Yeah. When for a long time I thought I would dread it. Yeah. So I think getting people back, asses in the seats and just chopping it up with each other and knowing that we're all fucking here together to try to make our individual lives and the brand that we're creating a success. Dude, I'm stoked for 2023. Yeah. And I'm sad to see people go, but it's fucking business, man. And those are the things I hate about business, things I didn't want to do.
Well, you also have the responsibility to preserve the jobs that you can.
Yeah. But we're talking in circles now. So I appreciate you guys listening. I mean, it's a good question. I feel like I'm going to watch this back and like, I wish I would have gone into that and talked deeper about this. But that's overall like high level, no matter how like spread out and rambling that I did. I'm a fucking psychopath, dude. And I sit here and think about how I'm thinking all day. And so it was good to just talk a little bit about it outwardly and not hold all of it in, Yeah. I'll be like sitting on Twitch looking at Jack and Mason like streaming Call of Duty. I'm like, holy fuck, bro. I'm like, yo, Scump, take a month off before you get back into full creator grind. But you got to enjoy it because I'm like, shit ain't sweet out here,
Yeah.
Like,
how do it feel seeing that 90K concurrent?
I'm happy for him, genuinely.
Watch party.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I really am. Like Seth, that man transcended everything that I thought I was for Call of Duty, and he's better at everything that I do. From like a comedian standpoint, like he's a funny guy. He's really good at the game, And the guy competed for so long. He deserves all the success. But yeah, man, it's been a lot, but it's incredibly rewarding, dude. I've learned so much about myself in the last like 6 years. I mean, that wasn't the goal when I started, but I used to be nervous coming in the office talking to our like executive team. I'm like, I like to crack jokes. I like things to be easy. Again, the enjoyment of being here. But I was like, dude, these people think that I'm a fucking moron, like a babbling idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know what I'm capable of, but I'm not good at certain aspects of what you should be good at being the CEO of a business.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those feelings went away. I'm a lot more confident in myself, and I'm happy. So here we are.
Nice.
Put a lid on that one. How long have we been going for?
Hour and 30 minutes.
Holy fuck.
Holy fuck.
Well, thank you guys for listening to all that. I think that's a good place to end this one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, though. I appreciate the questions.
Yeah.
Did a good job. I know you did a lot of listening, so appreciate you and everybody in this room, not only the cameras, but just I know you're basically at gunpoint being in this fucking studio with me right now, but I appreciate it.
Makes it a lot easier for me, too, when you have a lot to say. So
I always got a lot to say.
Appreciate that.
Fucking give me 2 Juvees at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I can sit here and talk till 12 at night.
Yeah.
I got Zins in. I'm off the vape. Life is good.
Part of being back at the office, too, not to open that back up, but, like, we're sitting in here, like, Tanner, Jed, Logan, Nathan, like, all people I love, like, seeing at the office. I, like, woke up, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and, like, you call it holding them hostage, but we're just kicking it together.
Bro,
I love it.
I mean, like JHB, for instance, we had him in the Call of Duty room. He's like, I was in there. I didn't have any more meetings for the rest of the day, so I was just going around hanging out with people because I mean that's what I should be doing, and I wish I got to do that more often. I will now because we're in the office. But I'm like, JHB walked by the door 2 times, and I'm like, JHB, come here, like come hang out. Like, and he stood in the doorway for like 5 minutes. I'm like, so what are you doing right now? He's like, I'm working. I'm like, do you have Premiere or Twitter open up on your computer right now? Like, is there a deadline? Like, come fucking sit on the couch and hang out, and chop it up.
Yeah.
We're helping him with his love life a little bit, talk about girls and stuff. And I'm like, that's what, an office should be. You know, I know that we have deadlines, and I know everybody's got a lot of work to sift through. And, maybe like Jason Ton, our CFO, his work is a little bit more deliberate. Like you can't be creative around financials unless we started like embezzling or something. I don't know. But I'm like, guys, this is not a fucking prison. Like, hang out, you know? If you can wait till next week, and if this 30 minutes of us just fucking bullshitting is going to be the end of 100 Thieves, then we got a bigger problem. Yeah. Like, everybody, I think people will really enjoy being at the office, and I was looking forward to being in the office this morning. I was going to bed, like, not even because we were filming a podcast. It's just yesterday was such a great day, bro. I stayed till like 5:30 just because I got to catch up with people and bullshit about High Ground and Juvee and apparel. Like, so I think for the millionth time, we got to end this episode. The office is great, and I think people enjoy it. Dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's episode number 2 of whatever we're calling this. Maybe Nadeshot Knows, but probably not. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and SoundCloud, Tumblr,
Kick,
MySpace. Yeah, we should just maybe Steak will give us a bag to live stream these episodes. You guys want 40 viewers and a good time? I appreciate you guys watching. YouTube, we'll see you fudging later. Goodbye.